What's going on, guys? We're gonna be looking at the 3 reasons why you're missing your shots. What's going on, guys? My name is Coach Kyle. We're gonna be looking at the top 3 reasons why you're probably missing your shot. Now, you hear a lot of coaches talk about elbow in. Now, let's look at the elbow. If we have our elbow out, it means our hand, right, is not centered. If we can get our hand behind the basketball, right, our elbow is naturally gonna be in. So as long as we can get our hand behind the ball when we get into our one position, that hand is naturally gonna be underneath the ball, right? When I hold the ball with one hand, right, everything's perfectly centered and balanced. Wrist, elbow, everything is aligned with that basketball. But as soon, right, as my hand is crooked, right, I'm no longer able to keep that ball balanced. Hence, if my hand is crooked, my elbow is out. So if your coach says elbow in, it's not the elbow that's a problem, right? It's the hand placement. Get that hand behind the ball. If it's behind the ball, it's gonna be underneath. Second reason why you're missing your shots is because the ball is rolling off the wrong fingers. Now, a lot of times I'll stand behind a player and record in slow motion what finger or fingers are the last to touch the basketball. Oftentimes, when we see bad backspin, when that ball's spinning a little crooked, it's not precise, we'll record it and we'll see that a lot of times this ring finger or the 4th finger is involved. Many times it might be the middle finger and ring, right? Very rare occasions has this pinky been involved. But a lot of times if we get this 4th finger, right? This 4th finger causes trouble. Right now that ball begins to spin a little sideways. Why not one finger? Well, this is not the most stable, right? Middle finger, same thing. We want these 2 fingers to be the last 2. And oftentimes we want to be able to split it. Now, you could have middle finger in the center of the basketball, right? And still get these 2 fingers to touch last, right? So a lot of times it's a preference thing. Just as long as these 2 fingers are the last 2 to touch, it's gonna be nice and stable. You're gonna get that perfect backspin. And the 3rd reason why you're missing your shot is where you're aiming. If I aim for the basket, I'm gonna hit the basket. So if the target is the front of the rim, I'm gonna hit the front of the rim. So we don't wanna aim at the rim, we wanna aim over the rim. A lot of players aim for different spots. Some say front rim, some say back rim. I've heard players say the net, some will say middle of the basket. Now, it varies almost from athlete to athlete, but you wanna find a spot 2 inches above the front of the rim. Now, there's no physical location, but you wanna pick a spot. A lot of times you have these hooks in the basket sometimes, right? You have these subtle lines, right? Some of the hoops kind of vary where you go, but you wanna pick a spot and aim 2 inches above the front of the rim, right? That way we're not aiming at the rim, but over the rim. So a lot of times you see players miss short. Short misses are bad misses, right? We wanna see more long misses. Now, missing in general, right, we think is bad, but if we're gonna miss, don't miss short, miss long. 2 inches above the front of the rim. Now there you have 3 reasons why you're missing your shot. Now, we wanna get into the gym, right? Start with form shooting, right? You never wanna start with free throws or 3-pointers, right? Or I've seen players start off with half-court shots. You wanna start right here under the basket, making sure, first and foremost, hand is behind the ball. Once we can get our hand behind the ball, it's gonna be underneath, nice and balanced, right? We wanna make sure when we release, right, these 2 fingers are the last 2 to touch, right? If we get these fingers involved, right, we're gonna have a sideways spin, and then where we aim, we wanna make sure we aim 2 inches above the front of the rim. Start with your form shooting, then begin to progress out. Here we go, let's get it.